selected our image, we're going to want to try and create this sort of halftone effect in response to this poster. So to do that, I'm going to go onto our layer that we've got our selection, and at the top under filter there's an option to pixelate. So filter, pixelate, color, halftone, and then you can experiment with these numbers here. So I think the radius, so the size of the circles can be 4. The larger the radius, the bigger the circle, and the screen angle degrees, you can switch these 4 channels. This has more of an effect if your image is in color, but for today we're going to do it in black and white. So I'm going to set 15, 45, 45, 45, 45. And as you can see, if I zoom in, it's created a halftone dot effect. I actually quite like it zoomed in as well. The further you zoom out, you see the image becomes clearer as well. So if you wanted to go back and maybe make the halftones larger, so color halftone, let's say I'm going to set it to 25. Click OK. Okay, I quite like that effect. Now on top of that, I'm going to use a color overlay, just like the image. So I'm going to use a flat color. Go to my FX panel, flat color overlay. Now if I wanted a specific color, I could enter the number here. So if I chose a color or found one with the color palette pipette, I could enter the number. You can save it, add to your swatches. So if I wanted to use, say, this color, I can add it to my swatches. I can name it, click OK, and then if I go onto my swatches, it's now been added here. So I'll go onto FX, color overlay, choose my color, so I can enter it. I could click on here. Keeps wanting to go back to the yellow color. I can double click this, copy and paste this number, FX color overlay, double click and paste the number in here, and it's changed to the color that I wanted. I can change the opacity so it can be more subtle. It could be solid, so I'm going to go 100%. So that effect is now on that layer. The next thing I'd like you to do is to try and create a shape using the pen tool. So we're going to do a new layer. Always use new layers to make sure that you can move them around independently. So you click P or pen tool. Doesn't matter what color it is, we're going to change it to a shape. So click on shape. I'm going to make the shape an opposite color. And we're not going to use any curves today, we're just going to do straight shapes. So as you click, as you can see, it's creating a shape. And then I need to join it up. And as you join it up, you see this circle on the pen tool. Then I can move it with the move tool to where I want it. And it's still a vector, so I need to rasterize it by right-clicking, rasterize shape. So now this shape is here. If I drag it below, it's now behind the image. If I add the white layer so you can see behind. So that's behind it, that's on top. I could blend it, so it could blend into the shape with a different blend mode, which is at the top of your layers panel. So you can experiment with pen tool shapes. I'm going to keep it on hard mix. Remember to zoom out of your design. This is too large, I want more negative space. Press enter. I can rotate this, enlarge it. Okay, I like it there. Right, so that's with the pen tool, creating a shape, a straight, geometric, irregular shape. And then I'm going to use the shape tool as well. So maybe I'll create a circle hold Shift. It has a dark outline, so I need to make sure I rasterize it. It's currently a solid shape. I'm going to put it behind the image. Okay. Next thing I'd like you to do, I'm just going to hide these layers so you can see what I'm about to do. On a new layer, you're going to create a shape in black. So go back to your presets here. If you press X, it switches between the foreground and background color. So we want a black rectangle. And I'm going to draw a rectangle. And then I'm just going to duplicate this with Alt-click with V. So go on the Move tool, click Alt, and as you can see, it's duplicated it. Shift-click both layers, then use Alt again, and I can duplicate those. Again, select all of them, Shift-click the top one, the bottom one, and hold Shift, click the last one, hold Alt, left-click, and you duplicate. And do the same again, click the top one, hold Shift, duplicate, then hold Alt, do the same again. Right, so I have a pattern, and I'm going to merge them all. So click the top one, the bottom one, and merge. Merge shapes, rasterize, duplicate this in case I want to use it in a different way. Hide one of them, and on this layer, make sure it's selected. I'm going to use the Liquify tool, which is here, Filter, Liquify. This has lots of different techniques. Depending on which Photoshop you have, you'll have different options over here. We've used the Warp tool before, so I'm going to use this clockwise tool, but you can use the Warp tool. You've got a brush with the hard brackets, making it bigger or smaller. So I could warp this. Click OK. And now with this, I'm going to select parts of it. So I might use the pen tool, P, and I'm going to use a path rather than a shape. And I'm going to select this area, right-click on the blue line, make selection, click OK, you'll get the marching ants, copy and paste, and on a new layer, it's selected that warp. So now I can add my other layers again. I can reduce the size of this. I'll zoom in so you can see it. So now I can rotate this, and I've created a warped texture using that shape. Okay, so that's going to go there. That's the next thing I'd like you to try.